Hey everybody, following the video series, I wanted to talk to you a tiny bit about the way I approach recording and tracking and mixing and the plugins that I use. Partially, I don't know if this is going to have a second part or not, depending on how the video is going to perform and how many people might have, questions or like follow-up things that they would like to share with me. What I'm going to be doing in this video is not some dark magic or something that you have not heard about before, probably, but I still, since I promised in the previous video, I will tell you, I will fake record like a verse chorus thing from empty. As you can see on the Cubase, there's nothing loaded right now, and I will walk you through the exact steps that I walk when I'm recording something for the album. When I'm recording for the album, obviously my priority is on recording, and so probably I won't be filming either at all or as much, since I have 12 or 13 songs I need to finish in like 3 weeks, like the recording part. So probably there won't be any recording for like the guitar stuff or the bass stuff, maybe, depending on how things go. Therefore, this video is going to be that kind of a situation. Now, so in order to be as authentic as possible, as you can see on Cubase, we have nothing loaded here. I will pull up my sound card so you see what's going on. Right now, my LTD snakebite is going directly to the line to A2 here. We have the high Z because this is a high Z pickup. And the only native plugin I have open here is the tuner that I check very regularly as I'm recording, because obviously the weather is crazy. It affects the tuning of the guitar. Sometimes when a section has a bunch of crazy bends, I need to tune. So I try to check this as much as possible. And I haven't opened anything else. I could technically open a tiny bit of a compression situation going on here, like a Gyrotex here, but I don't think I will. So I'm going to turn this off for now and just go straight to Cubase. I have this is my system, my audio interface. It has 16 inputs, but I'm only using the second input. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 4 lines, and I'm going to call them electric guitar. Why 4? 2 of them will be distortion rhythm, 2 of them will be distortion lead, in case there's like a thing happening in the chorus. For the drums, I will be using my Crim drums, the ones that's just unbelievably good. And I will also talk to you a tiny bit about how I approach triggering within the plugin itself. If my contact opens up, there we go. This is my drums of choice. I usually use the dry one here, the dry Richard. Crim runs on its own system of MIDI mapping. What I do is I always come here and I go to General MIDI, so I know that my C button is my kick one, the B is my other kick, snare, so on and so forth. And here in the mixer, as you can see, we have something happening in the kick trigger as well as the snare trigger. But we'll get here once I'm done with the rhythm. I'm going to group these two to a stereo group. I'm going to call it guitar rhythm, and these two to a lead. I'm going to call this guitar lead, just for the sake of brevity. There's going to be another guitar being added right now, which will be the bass. The coloring I use for my rhythms is usually I use red for rhythms. I use slightly lighter red. I don't know why my Cubase decided to have fewer colors than usual. 1 second. I thought the default is 32. Okay, weird. I tend to use like a different shade. My bass is always yellow and my drums are always blue, like this. And I will call this drums. Okay, so let's I'm going to add my Trivium rhythm here and my Trivium lead here. Now, obviously you won't hear anything because I haven't enabled any monitoring. If I enable this, you will hear distortion. This is a rhythm sound, and this is my lead sound with some delays and everything. What I do, I always add an extra line and I call it monitor, and this will be my monitor track, and I use my Trivium lead again on its own for monitoring. This always is armed. So I have a constant monitoring patch as well. What I do here is I will This is my dry signal that I can hear. So I always drive this down, so I only hear the distortion coming from the guitar. All right, let's write something cool. I'm going to use one of the Crims that's like grooves just to get some going. Let's go for, I don't know, 160 BPM. What do you have here? Yeah, let's use this. Let's imagine this is my verse, for example, rhythm. Let's go twice. So. Okay, I have no idea what I'm gonna record. I'm just gonna jam and record something. Metronome on, let's go. Let's imagine this is my riff. No, I think I made a mistake. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna record it again. Usually I will change my guitar to the other pickup, but for this video, I'm just gonna keep it with the same guitar. Let's imagine this is my verse. I will obviously, right now, as you can't see, maybe you can see, like on the bottom right here, I am clipping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my, this is my master. Like, this is usually on my other screen, but I will play and see what's happening here. See, I'm very close to clipping. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to take like 4 dBs off of my rhythm. And maybe 2 dBs off of my guitar. It should be off of my drums. It should be okay. Now, I'm gonna drive this hard left, drive this hard right. You should have a stereo image right now. Now, let's write another section for the rhythm and go for some harmony action. Yeah, let's go something like that. So, okay, now here I am playing, this is an E and a G, one step down, so it's going to technically be D and F, but I'm playing from the E position. So the third of G would be G, A, B. So let's go with a perfect third. So let's imagine this is our verse. And then we go for a chorus here. What do you have for chorus? Yeah, let's go with something completely blast beaty and like full crazy. All right, let's go for a chorus. Okay, so I'm just gonna play some random chords. Okay. I have no idea what I played, by the way. Did I play the right things? Let's imagine this is our chorus, and now let's think about a cool, like catchy, groovy, hooky guitar thing. Yeah, why not? So I'm gonna record it now on the lead section. Halfway through the recording, I changed my mind. Let's try again. All right, I'm going to play the same thing, but instead of in the high register, we're playing an E and a B, and again, this is a D and an A. But let's imagine this is a B and a E and a B, 1 octave lower. So instead of here, I'm gonna be here. I made a mistake. Okay, one more time, I'm sorry. Again, it's not perfect at all, I know, but I'm not supposed to be perfect. I'm just trying to show you how I approach recording. Obviously, for the album, I have all of the riffs, all of the melodies and everything, but this is how I approach recording things. So I'm gonna make this completely mute. I'm going to, ride the knob, like ride the volume until I can hear it. All right, let's imagine this is our rhythms and the guitars and everything. I'm gonna bring my bass now and record the bass and attempt at mixing this to sound like a real recording. The distortion guitar. This is a plugin, and it sounds like this. All right, let's record the bass for this. What did I play here? All right, let's record the, so it's. For now, I'm just playing in unison with the guitar. Oops. Am I playing? Oh, okay, now I have a problem here. It's not as loud as I want it to be. This is probably better. I played a bunch of wrong notes here, but the idea is to show you the spirit of what's happening. Now let's imagine that this is our recording, which for whatever reason I put in my monitor lane. Let's put it in the, there we go, bass knob. So this is our recording. Now the first thing here I need to do is to make sure that nothing is clipping right now. So, and definitely things will be clipping because the volumes are not matched at all. Okay, now the next step that I would usually do is, I would group all of my guitars into a different bus, all guitars, but not the bass. And what I would do is I would run Lacuna on it. That's the first thing I do. And I would go for the cold caparoon, the sauce patch. And oops, I made a mistake, sorry. The routing was wrong. I need to route these to their correct groups. Guitar, rhythm, guitar rhythm. This needs to be to all guitars. And then you again, you should be guitar lead and guitar lead. There we go. See, it brings it a tiny bit forward and it compresses it, at least in a way that I like a tiny bit. Let's go for chorus. Very nice. The next step is I would open an equalizer. I'm going for Pro Q4 and I'm just going to solo the bass and let it rip and have as you can see, have one of these. And I don't know if you can hear, but there are some grumbly, rumbly noises. We don't need this. I take it so that the drum, like the kick drum, can live there. I'll make this spectral so it doesn't eat into anything. Let's play together. Okay, I like it so far. Before I do anything on the drums, what I will do is I am going to put a limiter on my project. I use a bunch of different kinds of limiters, but my Pro L2, usually in the loud and wide open setting, is the one I like. Obviously the drums need some love, and the way I approach drums right now for this project is going to be, I need to make sure that the kicks are kicking and the snares are snaring. So what I do is I will solo the drums. Alright, let's listen to this trigger. I don't like this trigger, so I'm going to switch it to roundhouse. So now it's punchy. Let's go for snares. I like the spanker a lot. All right, there's a ton of things that I can do right now. For example, I could run a FET here. I could run a CLA here. I'll probably run a CLA here. And this is one of my absolute favorite compressors. Again, we're going to treat this as a drum bus for now. In the album setting, I would separate the kicks and the snares in my EQ chain. Actually, let me do it right now. Why not? We are here, let's do it. So I'm gonna go here, my kicks, this is my kick. I will give this to output 10, output 10, output 10. So output 10 is going to be my kicks and output 11 will be my snares. Here, what I need to do is to tell my Cubase to give me these lines. So activate output, give me 10 and 11. Here now, on my, I didn't enable in 11, hold on. Here in my Cubase, now I have separate outputs for my kick and my snare. This is all of my kicks and this is all of my snares. So if I solo my drums, This is only my kick, and this is only my snare, right? Now, what I would do in the album setting is probably, I will run a trigger on my kick like this. All right, I've loaded my trigger. So this is my trigger. For this, I'm gonna go with black kick. I really like the way this thing punches. I will run all of the TCIs here, and then I'm gonna go to the triggering, and then I'm going to play the kicks. Okay, that sounds good. Now the kick is doing the kick thing. Let's go for my snare. Again, let's add trigger. And for just the sake of posterity, let's use the black snare as well. Black snare only has 2 TCIs, which is pretty good because my snare is already 3 instruments. Okay. There we go. Now, then the next step would naturally be to compress the kick to make it sound a bit more like wholer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a FET on my kick, maybe a 4-1. See, now the kick thing is happening. Of course, this will take a lot of time. I'm just giving you a tiny bit of a like idea of how I approach. Snare, I'll use my tube compressor from Cubase itself. And another thing that I like to do sometimes is I will run a parallel like saturation on the drums and blend it in like a decapitator or something like that. But I'm not gonna do it in this mix. I'm just gonna show you the way that I approach things. Now, obviously the kick is too loud. What am I doing? And it's not a big problem. We can fix this. There was one more thing I wanted to do. I don't remember. I think I was gonna. I forgot what I was gonna do. And so let's say that this is a very happy place for our mix. What I will go next for my car test, for my like street test, what I would do is I would remove my Pro L2. I would add a soothe. I would switch this to the balance of the Grammy Awards around here. I would then add a God particle on top of everything. You don't see it here because it's on my other screen. I will turn off the limiter. Around maybe here. Then I will add a tape if I'm feeling, if I'm feeling the vibes. If I don't like it, instead of that, I will just run a Pro L2. Now here I can clearly see and hear that my guitars are too loud. Before I do everything else, one thing I do is I use the Biodynamics headphone lab. This is completely free. I don't know if it has other headphones, but I have my profile here. I will turn it on. You won't hear any difference because this is in my headphones, but it gives me a flat response so I can hear all of the imperfections in my mix. Personally, I'm very happy with where the snare is sitting. Again, this is a demo and this is like a 20-minute video, but that is how I approach usually Now, I did not EQ the guitars at all, or the bass in its like character, because EQing a guitar requires its own separate video, and I don't want this video to be like 3 hours. So that is my approach on how I record. I record everything twice, one ear left, one ear right, then rhythms, leads, bass once. I do the drums. I route the kicks and the snares outside of the program so I have control over it. I trigger them sometimes I don't trigger them, and then I just go with broad decisions. I don't want to get microscopic in this stage because right now I'm tracking. I would need a different hat. I would need a hat of an engineer for that, or a sound engineer, like a sound producer. Right now we're in tracking mode. That's how I track things. I do this, I export them, I listen to them on my phone when I'm going to the gym, when I'm walking around, I take notes on my notebook, which is right there behind me. I have my bass on my lap, so I can't really move much. But this is the way I approach recording and tracking the like my album. I don't know if this video was helpful or insightful or anything. I wanted to do this because I wanted to share a tiny bit of information of my process with you. One big takeaway is you don't need any of these like, if you call them fancy, like plugins or anything. A lot of the stock plugins you have in your DAW also gets the job done. For me, I like them. I like their sounds. I like their character, and that's the way I'm comfortable with. The most important part is that do not go out and spend money on anything at full price. All of these things, I got them either half off or almost half off because I waited for a good sale. Usually there's summer sale, there's like Christmas sale, there's winter sale. So be patient a tiny bit, add them to your like wish list, and just keep checking the prices. None of these things, in my opinion, is worth the full asking price. I love using them to death, but asking $400, for example, or 400 euros for something like this is just a bit insane, in my opinion, of course. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, morning, evening, night. Don't let anybody fill your world with teeth. I will see you very soon. Take care and peace.